Dear participants, Assalamu alaikum. I welcome you all to our webinar series on math. Today's topic is dealing with math anxiety, what, why, and how. Let me share objective of today's session with you. Through this webinar, we shall be able to discuss what does math anxiety mean, how does it develop, what are its consequences, how teachers can deal with it tactfully. But before we actually start discussing the following points, I would like you to please uh, think about these questions. As a student, how did you feel about math? Please recall your memory of your school life and share your experiences. What factors actually distract or discourage you solving math problems? That might include interaction with teachers, classmates, friends, and parents. So as soon as you come up with your opinion or you want to answer, you want to reply on any of the points, please raise your hand and start sharing. You can use your mic and you can talk during the sessions so that we can start sharing our opinion. Yes, Ms. Mila, you can share your point. You want to say something? Okay, tables were not learned properly and I forced to learn it. Okay, so that was a rote memorization. Yes, that is one example. Anything else? Any other thing you remember about your childhood, which actually distract you or hold you back to participate in math discussion or acquiring new things, learning new things, or having discussion. Okay, so you are not able to identify correct operation in word problem. Okay, right? Yes, that is okay. And this is because of the memorizing things. Uh, Anita saying, sir, from starting I hate this subject, but now it's become my favorite because at my childhood, my interaction with teachers were so less than now. That is obvious. Something which were actually holding you back, doing something or discussing, having a participation. The participation was not there. That's the reason I think. Okay, the teacher was, Anila saying, teacher was strict, so we were unable to ask. Okay, that's good. Right. Okay. So you see, whenever you mention or talk about math in front of a student, he or she starts saying, "Oh my God, oh my God." So what happens? I hate math. Uh, Maybe another reaction. I cannot do math, or another third reaction maybe I'm too bad in math. So you see, people start talking about, you see, talking about their ability, talking about their that they are not able to do this. So these are the things. So I myself remember during my school days, people quite often say, I do not like math. You see, they say, I do not like math. It's problematic. Too many things to worry about, too many variables, too many graphs. So you see, this was obvious that people would be coming up with these things. So problematic, and there is no consistency. I don't have any interest. So this is what people know. Oh my God, what can I do? So no matter how many hours you study, but still you feel uncomfortable. So therefore, it's only your feeling, and actually you are not bad in math. That is something you are not bad in math. You have enough knowledge, but you cannot focus enough and cannot have your clear mindset to put yourself on right track to solve the math problem. So that means it is not you can not do it, but it is only your feeling that you holding back. You cannot do that. This is not the thing that you cannot do it. At school, always thought about this is difficult and you cannot do it. It is also depend upon what previous students told you about math before you come to the classroom. Three students told grade two students, look, this is horrible subject. And you see from there, this start from the primary school and then going up and going up. So initial mindset become it is very difficult subject. On the other hand, if you look at chemistry, it is comparatively too hard, but you never heard that chemistry is too difficult subject. So math action individuals think that they cannot solve math problems. So you see, this is a mindset where people are coming about their opinion and their feeling. Whatever they have been listening to their colleagues, their friends, or maybe at home, their parents used to say that I cannot do this. So how can you would be able to do it? So this sort of things. Let's suppose there is a student in a school under pressure in his own campus or class, or during exam, the most anxious point in life, they cannot solve the problem. Once they go home and start looking at the same problem, and they can solve it. You see? So, what is the difference in situation one and situation two? Can you see this? There are two situations over here. So, what is the difference in these two situations? A child is unable to do any attend word problem. But as soon as she or he arrive home, that problem seems very possible, very see, easy. So over here, what we are talking about is an environment. What type of environment prevails over there? Perhaps the environment or the person interaction. or you see, maybe the okay. I could see hand up of a person who is showing someone wants to say something. Okay, Mr. Qasim, you want to say something? Yes, Neela, you want to say something? Okay, so you see here the environment we are talking about. So this is depend which is totally depend upon the type of interaction you are having with your colleagues, with your you see classmates. Of course, it is stress and thinking about consequences of doing wrong and everything else. You see, sometimes children think that if I do it and if it is wrong, then I would have to face consequences. So, before taking initiative, before taking or doing something, you see, people think that it is not possible that I would not be able to do it. You see. Before we go ahead, I think we should uh, watch a video on why do people get so anxious about math. Uh, so then we will be discussing on the video. So I would like everyone to please be careful and try to note the things which are over here, and we would be after watching this video, we would be discussing it. فرانسیسی ریاضیدان لارنٹ شارٹس ہائی اسکول میں تھا، ویسے ہی فکر ہونے لگی، اتنا ہوشیار نہیں تھا کہ ریاضی کے مسائل حل کر سکے۔ اگر آپ بھی ایسا ہی محسوس کرتے ہیں تو کیا ہو؟ آپ ٹیسٹ لیتے ہیں اور اس دوران آپ کا دل تیزی سے دھڑکنے لگتا ہے یا شاید پریشانی کی وجہ سے پسینہ بھی آنے لگتا ہے۔ آپ اپنے پیٹ میں تتلیاں اڑتی محسوس کرنے لگتے ہیں اور بالکل بھی توجہ نہیں دیتے۔ اسے میتھ ایکزائٹی یا ریاضی کے پیچھے کہا جاتا ہے۔ محققین کا کہنا ہے کہ تقریباً 20% لوگ اس حالت کا شکار ہے، لیکن اپنے آپ پر اتنا برہم نہ ہو۔ ہر کوئی جو اس کا شکار ہوتا ہے پوری پرنٹر کا ہے پرنٹ اسکرین۔ فرانسیسی ریاضی دان لارنٹ شارٹس ہائی اسکول میں تھا، ویسے ہی فکر ہونے لگی، اتنا ہوشیار نہیں تھا کہ ریاضی کے مسائل حل کر سکے۔ اگر آپ بھی ایسا ہی محسوس کرتے ہیں تو کیا ہو؟ آپ ٹیسٹ لیتے ہیں اور اس دوران آپ کا دل تیزی سے دھڑکنے لگتا ہے یا شاید پریشانی کی وجہ سے پسینہ بھی آنے لگتا ہے۔ آپ اپنے پیٹ میں تتلیاں اڑتی محسوس کرنے لگتے ہیں اور بالکل بھی توجہ نہیں دیتا۔ اسے میتھ ایکزائٹی یا ریاضی کے پیچھے کہا جاتا ہے۔ محققین کا کہنا ہے کہ تقریباً 20% لوگ اس حالت کا شکار ہیں، لیکن اپنے آپ پر اتنا برہم نہ ہو۔ ہر کوئی جو اس کا شکار ہوتا ہے وہ ریاضی میں برابر نہیں ہوتا۔ لارنٹ شارٹس نے فیلڈس میڈل ریاضی کا سب سے بڑا اعزاز جیت لیا، جس سے ثابت ہوتا ہے کہ ایسی پریشانی مبتلا ہر شخص پوری طرح ناکام نہیں ہوتا۔ یہ اکثر اس کے برعکس ہوتا ہے۔ وہ لوگ جو ریاضی میں اچھی کارکردگی کا مظاہرہ کرنے کے بارے میں فکر مند ہیں، وہ حقیقت میں خراب کارکردگی کا مظاہرہ کر سکتے ہیں کیونکہ وہ فکر مند ہیں۔ کچھ ماہر نفسیات کا خیال ہے کہ ریاضی کی پریشانی علمی وسیلے کو کم کرتی ہے، جسے ورکنگ میموری کہتے ہیں۔ یہ شارٹ ٹرم میموری سسٹم ہے جو آپ کو کسی کام کو مکمل کرنے کے لیے درکار معلومات کو منظم کرنے میں مدد دیتی ہے۔ جب کسی کو ریاضی کی پریشانی ہوتی ہے تو وہ مسائل کو حل کرنے کے قابل ہونے یا ٹیسٹوں میں اچھی کارکردگی نہ کرنے کے بارے میں فکر مند ہوتے ہیں، جو ان کی دستیاب ورکنگ میموری کی جگہ کو ختم کر دیتا ہے اور خود اسے حل کرنے کے لیے کم یادداشت کا چھوڑ دیتا ہے۔ لوگ اچانک ریاضی جیسی بنیادی مہارتوں کے ساتھ ہی جدوجہد کر سکتے ہیں جو کہ انہوں نے تعلیمی دباؤ کی وجہ سے حاصل کر لی ہوگی۔ سچ تو یہ ہے کہ محققین کو ابھی تک یقین نہیں ہے کہ ایسا کیوں ہوگا، لیکن کچھ اسٹڈیز بتاتی ہیں کہ والدین، اساتذہ مل کر کے گھر یا اسکول میں ریاضی کیسے پڑھایا جا سکتا ہے اس میں اہم کردار ادا کرتے ہیں۔ جب والدین ریاضی کے بارے میں بات کرتے ہیں، جیسے کوئی مشکل اور ناواقف، ان کے بچے اس ذہنیت کو اپنا لیتے ہیں۔ ریاضی کی طرف مبتلا اساتذہ کو بھی امکان ہے کہ ویسے اپنے طلبہ میں اس طرح پھیلا دیں گے، بالکل اسی طرح جس طرح ان سے اس کے متعلق بات چیت کی گئی ہوگی۔ مسائل کو تیزی سے حل کرنے کا دباؤ تناؤ کو اور بھی بڑھا دیتا ہے، نہ صرف طالب علم کے لیے بالکل اپنے لیے بھی، اور بعض اوقات ریاضی میں اچھا ہونا عمومی طور پہ ذہانت کی علامت سمجھا جاتا ہے۔ جب دباؤ بہت زیادہ ہوتا ہے تو یہ حیرت کی بات نہیں ہے کہ بہت سے طلبہ ریاضی کی پریشانی کا سامنا کرتے ہیں یا حوصلہ شکنی محسوس کرتے ہیں، کیونکہ ابتدائی طور پر درپیش مشکلات کی وجہ سے وہ ریاضی میں زیادہ اعتماد یا دلچسپی نہیں رکھتے۔ تو اگر آپ کو اس قسم کی ریاضی کا سامنا ہو تو آپ کیا کر سکتے ہیں؟ آرام کی ٹیکنیک جیسے سانس لینے کی مختصر مشقوں نے ان لوگوں میں ٹیسٹ کی کارکردگی کو بہتر بنایا اور یہ اس کو بہتر بنانے میں مدد دیتی ہے۔ جو ریاضی کی پریشانی کا شکار ہوتے ہیں، اپنی پریشانی کو لکھنا بھی آپ کی مدد کر سکتا ہے۔ یہ حکمت عملی آپ کو ایک دباؤ والے تجربے کا دوبارہ جائزہ لینے کا موقع دے سکتی ہے، ورکنگ میموری کو آزاد کرتی ہے، اور اگر آپ کے پاس موقع ہے تو جسمانی سرگرمی تناؤ کو دور کرنے میں مدد دیتی ہے۔ اس طرح تو بڑھنے سے روکتی ہے۔ آپ اپنے دماغ کو تبدیل کرنے کے لیے جو کچھ معلوم ہے اسے بھی استعمال کر سکتے ہیں۔ فلیکسیبل مائنڈ سیٹ ریاضی کی ڈیولپمنٹ آف میتھ اسکل میں کبھی دیر نہیں کرتی۔ اپنے آپ کو کسی ایسے شخص کی طور پر سوچنا جس میں ترقی کی صلاحیت ہو، ہمیشہ بڑھنے اور بہتر بنانے میں مددگار ثابت ہوتی ہے۔ اس خیال کو گروتھ مائنڈ سیٹ کہا جاتا ہے۔ اگر آپ یا تو چھوٹے بچوں کو پڑھا رہے ہیں یا ان کی پرورش کر رہے ہیں، ریاضی کے مسائل کے ساتھ کھیلنے کی کوشش کریں، اور صرف ریاضی کے مسائل کو درست طریقوں سے حل کرنے کے بجائے تخلیقی صلاحیتوں پر توجہ مرکوز کریں۔ اس سے بچوں کو سکھانا چاہیے کہ ہر چیز کو فوراً مکمل کر لینا ٹھیک نہیں ہوتا، بلکہ اس کے بجائے مختلف طریقوں کو آزمانے کی۔ So participants, you have seen that the things, how the actual anxiety takes over your brain, and it's a problematic, and it becomes very, you see, uh, very uh, sort of I can say overwhelming responses of so anxiety takes over a big part of your brain, and that is usually used to solve math problem. That is the problem lies over there. Anxiety takes over a big part of our brain that is usually used to solve math problem. When you go home and you are sitting on a dining table or living room or watching TV while solving the math problem, you can do it right. But while doing it in exam room, you cannot do it. So it is a mindset we need to actually work through. The mindset and differentiate between what I do and what I cannot do. I have to do math anxiety, I have to work on math anxiety, or I am bad in math. So these are the two things. The big problem is that people who are anxious about math, they avoid math. And when they avoid math, they do not practice. So math need practice. Here we can say the whatever not true, whatever was lie will turn to truth. And because you're not doing and you're not practicing, that is, you see, taking over you and you're defeating you. And that actually happens with us. So many people coming that and saying that there are factors which are involved. Not only you are not practicing only, but also hearing it from everyone else. That math is so difficult, that is why it is becoming worse and worse and worse. It is how it builds when you grow older and go to school. And the point when you grow older and go to school, and the point when there is a math involved, particularly you see when you join university, all of a sudden you come to know that everything is so. Uh, Before we run out of our time, as soon as there is a shorter of time, I would request participants to please click on the same link so that we can rejoin. So maybe in a minute or very in a short time, we would be disconnecting. So in that case, please rejoin if it is disconnected. So here, what I'm talking about is particularly if you talking about in physics and math, which is obviously the math is involved in both the subject. And if you have engineering, then you are stuck with math for your whole life. And you have to take math at some point of life. It is either first year or second year. So, and you must know that math topics are concepts. I have seen parents taking their children and facilitating them memorizing things, memorizing formulas, or you see, which take them to memorizing one problem, two problem, three problem, maybe 10 problems, but you see how much they can memorize. Eventually, when they join university or when they go to work where they have to do something, then this is obvious they would not be able to do. They would not be having actual concepts. And this is not the discrete boxes where the topics are. When you have finished algebra, you would not be going to trigonometry, and when you finish with trigonometry, you would not be talking about fractions. So they are all connected. They are interlinked. That is very uh, important. So when we talk about, uh, solving problems, word problem, so we use actually GRASS method. It is an acronym for given, required analysis, solution, and statement. You adopt one procedure or one technique, and then you start solving it. If it is not solved, then what you do is to take another strategy. So you apply different strategies or different methods so that you would be able to come up with some point. So I have seen students uh, getting the result within 1.4 second. It is a research that usually what students want to solve within 1.4 second they want to get results, and which that is not correct. So we have to be very careful when we teach students about word problem. So word problem take a lot of time, and we have to think about. So strategies which way we can adopt over here would be, everyone has its own pace of doing things. If you do any concept, if you start talking about fractions, so fractions have its own strategy. If you talk about algebra has its own strategies. So every topic is has its own pace of doing things. So sometime when you solve problem, it take time, and you can solve it at your own time. So taking time and not having accurate answer, that is not the problem. So keep doing it unless you get your right answer. Uh, Another thing which I would like to mention over here, that children must be given time to think, to solve, and taking time for solving their problems, whatever the problem, whatever the steps they take. So we can say that Children take some time to understand some patterns, some procedures, some steps. So unless or until they internalize those patterns or those things, that is very, you see, problematic for them to understand. Ignore everything. If people are saying this is what you cannot do, so you must not listen to people. You must not around you. So you have to focus on your own work. Sometimes children sitting in exams, they say that they see that one child finish with the task and you are still struggling. So it actually looking at other works also hold you back. So you should not look at others' works. Focus on your own work. Uh, where can teachers or instructors step in and go for early stage where they start teaching with the idea of concept behind it? So I think we should be being patient in a skill, whatever the skill is there. So we have to practice. We have to let students to practice that particular skill, so that they would be able to, uh, try it. Knowing your students is important. You must know your students. If you are having 20 students, if you are having, 25 students, so focusing on 4 or 5 students and sometimes others are neglected, so you have to focus on it. You see, when students have practice, it also provide them with some time and courage, and that develop their confidence. And when the confidence is developed, it leads to, better results. It leads to better opportunity for them. One more thing which is very important when we talk about math is performance in math. So unless or until you try something, unless or until you do some practice, it is not possible that the performance would be there. So sometime, I'm not saying that deliberately teacher ignore, but sometimes students are, students cannot participate because of the not given opportunity and not given encouragement. You should provide timely feedback, constructive feedback, which is attainable. That is not something which you say praising words or using good, or saying that is weak or that is encouraging. So you have to mention each and every student's work by mentioning the actual what that student did is more important. So constructive feedback, which is timely, which is attainable, and if you give the test and after some time you do not provide them with, uh, time for feedback, then the students are discouraged. So it is very important to provide them with timely feedback and constructive only. You should not discourage them. You should not avoid using such type of, labeling or judgmental statements. It's okay to make mistakes. Please tell them we are human being. We can mistake, but that does not mean that you are making mistake. You cannot do it. Once you make mistake, try and try unless you get your acquired your desired results. So that is very much important. Yeah, and we all learn our mistakes. If they are not mistakes, how could we able to point out where the gaps are lying? Uh, if I talk about tips for having exam or test, is cognitive behavior therapy. Relax, give a deep breath, look around, and look at the people faces. And if you are quite aware of the environment and not looking to the environment and not talking to people, that might hinder your progress. That is very important. You see, so that is what I believe is very important when you deal with the anxiety in the classroom. So uh, I would request people to please, when they get the feedback forms, So please start giving your feedback through the forms you would be receiving, because we are going to conclude our session. So I would request all of you to please come up with your opinion, come up with your remarks, and say what were the things you like, and then we would be able to, because after you filling out your feedback form, we would be providing you certificates. I hope we are resuming again. So I would like to, discuss the things which we have already shared through the slides. So actually, in the beginning, I would be coming to, the objective of our sessions, so that we could have a look at them. Actually, we started with the Mac anxiety. So I hope that you people would have come up with your opinion and clear-cut definition. So what can we talk? How can we define anxiety? So we discussed that it's a mindset which actually hold you back. The environment where you are studying, where you are sitting, where you are having your discussion. So environment where you have interaction with different peoples, and the type of feedback you are having from your teacher, the type of interaction you are having with your colleagues. So it's totally depend upon the environment and the people, sort of interaction with the people you are having. And then we discussed that how does it develop? It's not something which is developed in a vacuum. It takes time. So I talked about your childhood when you were a child in the school, and you were having discussion, and you were having a mindset that something very typical, or something which is, people are coming up with the sort of, it's boring, it's problematic, it has a lot of variables, it has graph. So these were the things which we discussed on how it is actually developed. And actually the consequences, it actually, when we were watching that video, we came to know that there is a mind, there is a portion in our brain which occupy actually with the anxiety. And then when it occupies, take over your big part of your brain, and when it occupies, it's usually used to solve math problem. The actual portion of your brain which is being used to solve a problem, and it occupy with the anxiety. So we discussed two different situations. One situation was when you are home, and other situation when you are at school. So this is actually the things which hold you back. Uh, in the last, we discussed that how teachers or teacher educators can resolve this problem. So resolving problem, through what is it's through interaction, type of interaction you have, the type of interaction, the type of environment you develop within the boundaries of a school, within the classroom, or the relationship you develop. We also talked about immediate constructive feedback and timely feedback. Children's need clear-cut and timely feedback, and it is supposed to be very constructive one. Otherwise, they become they become fed up of same type monotonous routine. Routine environment of teaching of math. So these are the factors which actually inhibiting in the environment, and people are coming up with the type of anxiety is not you see telling us that I cannot do something, I have something with with my environment. So when that mindset develop, it is difficult to change unless or until you have a sort of constructive feedback, constructive discussion. So that is very important.